Thank you so much, Ed Kelly. Thanks for your incredible leaders up here, and really all of you for what you've done, not just for you and your members, but for the entire nation, in standing up for the simple idea that benefits earned should be yours, and that we have to have the backs of the people that stand up for us. And you did that big time with Social Security for your members. Thank you so much. Every single day, and I think the country has really been reminded of this with Los Angeles. We all know that. Firefighters from all over the country came out there to help, including from my home state. But what I try to remind people is so much of what you do isn't on the news every day, right? It's not leading on CNN. It's the everyday things that you do when you're rescuing people at what is really the worst moment in their lives. I think about a fire captain in Duluth, Minnesota, Mark Horsema, who, along with his wife, saved someone's life when he was at an airport. The guy fell unconscious at the baggage claim. Mark performed CPR. He wasn't on the job, and they jump-started the guy's heart. Months later, the man got a chance to meet them, and he said, "I consider myself to be one of the luckiest people on earth." The truth is, we're all lucky to have you looking out for us. I remember the story of the Minnesota firefighters who rescued a 17-year-old girl from a burning house. As one of the doctors put it who treated the girl, people are making a big deal that we went into a burning building to save someone. This is the doctor speaking who went in with the firefighters. And he says, but these guys do it all the time. It's standard operating procedure for them. You can't teach that heroism, and it isn't just when the big fires happen and it's all over the news. I think that is, though, a wake-up call and a reminder for Americans that take things for granted sometime of who's going to be there when they make that call. So that's why we're so grounded, I am, in all of this when we had the issue of the Social Security Fairness Act come up. We work to make sure that you keep all your benefits that you've earned, including your full Social Security checks. For years, because of the way the law was written, you all know this, firefighters were losing hundreds of dollars a month in Social Security payments. So that wasn't right. It seemed like everything was falling apart at the end of the year, and then you stepped in. I believe, if I look back at my cell phone records, that Ed Kelly called me those months more than my own husband, all right? I think that that is true. He was in weird rooms in the Capitol. He was lurking around the corner, and all of you were doing the same thing with your own local representatives, your own senators, and you were saying, this isn't political, we know everything's a mess, we know everyone's fighting with each other, but this is one good thing you guys can all do together. And I was so proud to be there, along with Ed, when that bill got signed into law. It was something that actually people did not think was possible, but you made that possible because of the respect that you have earned from the leaders in the nation. So what else? We have gotten significant funding for Safer and Assistance for Firefighters grants, again on a bipartisan basis. I obviously am seriously concerned about the freeze on federal funding that our firefighters rely on. Just one example, Chief Butch Inks, that's a great name, of the St. Paul Fire Department, he told me that without this critical funding, he isn't sure that his department is going to be able to retain the personnel that they need. And he's not alone, and so we're pushing the administration to restore those funds. When you look at public safety, clearly this should be one of the exceptions. What else? The Honoring Our Fallen Heroes Act. Your members, actually, Fraternal Order of Police as well, and many others came out strong and said that we have to do something about the high rate of cancer and other illnesses that firefighters experience because they are exposed to toxic substances in their job every single day. More than 70% of line-of-duty deaths among IAFF members are due to cancer, and we all know that. Fire Lieutenant Brett Boss from Albert Lee, Minnesota, lost his cancer battle a few years ago. I was there with his wife. Senator Kramer and I, the senator from North Dakota, joined together and introduced a bill, bipartisan bill, to make sure that firefighters who die from or become disabled as a result of service-related cancers get the support they've earned even after they retire from the force. That is the bill. And I have to say, I don't know if the Montana firefighter was here. Our plane was late, and he was in the Minneapolis airport. Is he here anywhere? There he is. So he came up. You'll love this set. See this guy stand up there. He came up, and he introduced himself and thanked me. So, because he was doing his work right there in the airport, okay? Super nice. Yeah, it was really good, but wait a minute. So I had on my call list, the plane's late, so I start making calls. On there was one of our firefighters who has very serious cancer. He's in the hospital right now. And I had met him before, so our staff said, why don't you give him a call? I gave him a call. We talked for quite a while. Then they called the plane, and I had to get all my stuff together. I was carrying this mirror. So I handed the phone over to him, and he talked to him as well, someone I had just met in the plane. And that meant a lot to him. I said, there are your brothers and sisters from all over the country who are stepping up, even though you're in the hospital right now, to fight to get this bill done, to make sure that those that are exposed to toxic substances gets the benefits that they are due. So I want to thank you for taking the lead on this. It's going to save lives. We already got that cancer registry done, and now we have to make sure that the law that we got done in Minnesota, because of a guy named Mike Piter, who was an incredible firefighter, and his wife led the way on this. We got that change in Minnesota for how the benefits work if you're exposed to toxic substances, and now we need to get it done for the nation. That is my goal for the coming year. We've already gotten it through the Judiciary Committee, 21-0. That's a big deal when you can get Ted Cruz and Cory Booker on the same side. So I'm feeling better and better about this. Last thing I wanted to say to all of you is the importance of unions right now. With all the turmoil going on, you've got to have people. I hope you're applauding for unions and not that I said it's the last thing I want to say. Okay, thanks. The importance of union. So I wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for unions. It's not even a close call. So my dad grew up in a hardscrabble mining town up in northern Minnesota near the Canadian border called Ely, Minnesota. And his dad was a miner, and his grandpa was a miner. They brought over from Slovenia. And my grandpa would go to work every single day and go down in this cage, he loved to hunt, he loved to pick blueberries, but he went down to that job, which was super dangerous in the underground mines. He used to line up the coffins in the Catholic Church, and the bell would go off, and the wives would run to the mine. They never knew whose person died, whose husband died. That was where my grandpa worked his whole life. And the mines became safer, and my grandpa got enough money to save money in a coffee can to send my dad to college. All of that happened because the unions came in. So I stand before you today as the granddaughter of a union worker who is an iron ore miner. As a daughter of a union newspaperman, my dad went on to become a sports writer. He covered the Vikings. He wrote a book that's sadly still relevant today called Will the Vikings Ever Win the Super Bowl? That's a true story. My mom became a teacher. She moved over from Wisconsin to Minnesota because they had better teachers' unions at the time. So I stand before you today as a granddaughter of a union iron ore miner, as the daughter of a union newspaperman and a union teacher, and the first woman ever elected in the state of Minnesota to the United States Senate. That is what unions are about. That is what it is. It's about giving people the dream so they and their families can move up. So keep up the good work, and let's get this toxic substance bill done. Thank you, all of you.